Oh, that's it. I've had it with this dump. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off. Okay, just calm down.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. And it's time to wrap up our Marvel 2019 coverage with the best Marvel series of the year with my good friend, X-Men historian, Marvel aficionado, comic lover, Doc. What's up, buddy?
I can't wait to do this, brother.
All right, so last time I went first, so we're going to let you go first this time. But I do want to give some of the comics or the series that didn't make my list just to show how competitive it was. Immortal Hulk, Venom, and Ghost Rider were all on the precipice of making my top five, but it's so strong they couldn't quite crack it.
I think that they're all pretty close. You know what? I think I got one of those that did make my list, and I'm betting that you got one that on your list that was just off of my list. But I'm going to wait and say whether or not that happens. I don't want to spoil any of your list.
All right. Well, I'll tell you this: if Immortal Hulk hadn't fallen off like the last 7 issues, it would be on my list. But recent quality kind of downgraded, especially Immortal Hulk 25. So, time to get into what's up.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Well, it's time to get into our top 5 list. I went first last time. It's your time to lead. What's your number 5 comic series of 2019?
My number 5 is Amazing Spider-Man up until it got crossover happy.
Oh, yeah. The Hunted series.
Yeah.
With the Kraven return. Oh, such a good story arc.
It is. But then it started getting all crossover happy right after about issue 25. When it started tying in with Absolute Carnage and some other event that I don't even remember what the
2099.
Yeah, 2099. And then now you have the 2099 thing. You know what? That's when I just kind of dipped out. I had started picking it up again, even though I cannot stand Nick Spencer. And his name on it was the reason why they got me to drop it for the first time since 1987 in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And after I heard so many good things about it around issue 10, I finally came back and I bought all the previous issues and read through it and loved it. I really did. I loved
Humberto Ramos and Ryan Ottley art before Gleason got there. I don't know if he's even started yet. But they put some premier artists on it.
It did. They did, and I loved it. And then it just needed to get all crossover happy. I mean, it was kind of pushing. It was pushing it a little bit with the Hunted, with having the issue and then issue point HU.
Oh, those were bad. The art on those were terrible.
Yeah, and you can't figure out whether or not they're actually important or if they're just tie-ins or until you actually buy them and read them. And I skipped all of those, and I think I'm really happy I did because I still got the point of the Hunted story.
Mm-hmm.
But it was right around the time where it started going crossover happy that I'm just like, nope. Look, I'm enjoying this, but I don't need to read 38 other crossovers.
Starting to feel like work.
Yes. So I may come back in after the 2099 thing is over.
So my number 5 comic series of 2019 is definitely the newest. It hasn't been out very long, but the quality is so high I had to put it on there. X-Force by Ben Percy and Joshua Serra. It's been the only Dawn of X series that's really capitalized and really taken what House of X and Powers of 10 established and really built on it and continued it on. The tone of it's great. The dire situation. There's deaths. There's consequences. The art's fantastic. I love X-Force.
I have it on my list.
I'm not surprised.
All right. I just rated it a little higher than you, sir.
Well, it's only because it's only got 4 issues out so far. If it keeps this up for like another 4, it'd be number 2.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. It's art, writing. It's a great book.
And I like the villains in it. You know, I think Xeno, you know, for xenophobic is a little bit too on the nose, but it's a cool villain group. It's basically the antithesis of the Quiet Council. You have like the Quiet Evil Council that's over there trying to destroy the X-Men and have their own plans. And they seem very formidable at this point because they are whooping their butts.
Yeah.
Every single week right now.
I mean, hell, we didn't even know their name until what, issue 3, and they were still the most captivating villains that we've gotten from the X-Men in a long time. You know, they didn't even have a name until issue 3. It was like the last page of issue 3.
Yeah, it was a good announcement. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, that it's my number 4 book.
Wow. Perfect.
So, I know.
Your number 4 book, X-Force. Is there anything else you want to say about it?
Not really.
All right, we're going to move on to my number 4 list. Daredevil from Chip Zdarsky and Marco Checchetto. It's been such a great series. The reason it's not my number 2 right now is because they keep cycling in villain artists for Marco Checchetto, and the regular guy that's been filling in, he is not very good comparatively. They did have one issue, I believe, that was Jorge Fornes that filled in that was excellent, and he's the next villain artist, which is going to be much better, but it throws me off. I hate it when I have a great series. I love the visuals, and they kill it with a fill-in artist that doesn't look anything like the regular artist.
Yeah, that's the best way to harm a book. You want to kill any sort of momentum that you got. Put in a terrible artist that doesn't look anything, or just even a solid artist that doesn't have any similar style. It'd be like following up, Jim Lee with, Stuart Immonen. Stuart Immonen's a great artist, but it would be like going from, live action to Dilbert.
What's crazy about Daredevil is they have these 3 amazing character arcs, and Daredevil might be the number 3 one because you have Daredevil, he accidentally killed somebody, he's looking for redemption, he's finally, kind of getting himself back in the game as, he's helping out the brother, the man that he killed. Then you have Kingpin, thinks he's going to go on the straight and narrow, he's a politician now, so he's trying to put the past behind him and kind of close up ranks on the all the crime in New York City, keep an eye on it, but kind of distance himself from that. But he's learning that people don't forget that he's always going to be a criminal, and that's how the rich and the elite are always going to see him. Like, he can't escape his past. And then you have the third one that might be the best, is this new Detective Cole who came in from Chicago. He's like a real straight and narrow kind of cop. He comes into Hell's Kitchen. He's going to take down a vigilante named Daredevil, and he is basically being worn down by the city and realizing that Hell's Kitchen isn't what he thinks it is, and he is changing it, and the city is changing him as he realizes just how dirty and evil it is, and maybe Daredevil had it right all along. Oh, it's so good.
It actually sounds really interesting.
It is. I'm telling you, the Detective North story arc might be the best part about it, and the Daredevil story is great. If it wasn't for the fill-in artist, it would be number 2 easily. The only thing holding it back.
I can see that.
Kills the momentum.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. What's your number 3? This better be good.
My number 3 is Absolute Carnage.
Oh, nice.
It was kind of a tie between Venom and Absolute Carnage, but I kind of dropped Venom after, Donny Cates blocked me. So now I picked up Absolute Carnage though, and other than the end, when you just realize right at the end, this isn't going to actually tie up anything. It'll end the Carnage portion of this story, but not the
big through point that's been going on.
Yeah, it felt like it was okay, but it's still just a lead into another. It's just a prelude series to a series, and it looks like we're going to get at least one more prelude series before that series.
Yeah, Venom Island.
Yeah, but the art, the writing, the depth of the story, the stakes, it felt legitimate. But now I really want to see what's up with Dylan. And
he's got like this new power that you didn't.
Yeah,
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, where he because I guess he was born of the Codex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, spoilers, everybody. You're reading a year in review video, but spoilers. You know, I guess because he was born of the Codex, it's part of his DNA, and he's kind of like a symbiote demigod. He would be like the Hercules of the symbiote pantheon.
You know, it's crazy. Venom would have made my list as well until the Year of the Villain, the War of the Realms tie-in started on that series, and it just went to crap. I was like, what happened to this? War of the Realms killed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, War of the Realms did really just it took the legs out from under so many things. I mean, if we had a top 5 worst, that would absolutely be at number 1. I think for most.
No way.
No?
Age of X-Men.
Oh yeah, you are right, because that was
not even close.
Yeah, you're right, and that was in 2019 too. Yeah, you're right. Okay,
they were basically back to back.
Yeah,
I think they were going at the same time.
You know what? War of the Realms, possibly because it killed so many other things. Age of X-Men only killed X-Men.
Well, and it was already going to die anyway. It was just a fill-in event for them to try and cash grab before they
exactly. Whereas War of the Realms killed actual good books, like books that were just going and doing their own thing, and then they
killed the Avengers for me too. Dropped that one.
Yep. Same here.
Like, what is this crap? Like, I'm not reading this anymore.
Yeah. So Absolute Carnage, was my number.
It is a fun story. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So my number 3, Spider-Man life story. Chip Zdarsky shows up a second time, this time with classic Venom artist Mark Bagley in tow. It started out like a house of fire, and it didn't end on, quite as great as it did, but such an interesting idea to age Spider-Man along with the decades, and you see him grow from a young man with powers into an old man with powers, teaching proteges, making mistakes. What did you think about Spider-Man last story?
It was the one book that I kept thinking about buying and just kept skipping.
Oh man,
I've heard it was great. I may pick up the trade.
You should,
but I just couldn't bring myself to give a damn.
Well, is it because it wasn't in continuity? Or just
it was partially because it wasn't continuity. I mean, at this point, I'm getting really tired of reading however many out of continuity, because I mean, let's be honest, Marvel's continuity has not exactly been great over the past probably 10 years. Continuity is I guess you could say it's a suggestion. Hell, actually, they may look at it as a threat. But from time to time, they will play in the continuity sandbox and actually do something cool with it. And other times
Chip had like some really like hard stuff to work with, like fitting like all these big story arcs. So he was able to get like Secret Wars in there. He was able to get Kraven in there. He was able to get like a lot of the major like big Spider-Man story arcs and actually fit him into these decade stories. And I thought he had to change some of it, but I thought it was really excellent. And for like a new Spider-Man reader that wants to get the gist of who the character is and some of the things he's been through, I think it's a great introduction.
I think it's, you know what? I would have to say that, for non-Peter, people that didn't grow up with Peter as their Spider-Man, that might have grown up with Miles or hell, even Ben.
The Clone Saga's in there.
Yeah. It was great. I've heard nothing but great things about it. And, look, I mean, when you can put out a book, even that people that didn't read it will sit there and go, I've heard nothing but good things about it. In 2019, you obviously put something together good.
Oh yeah, Chip was on his A game there. Doc, what was your number 2 series?
My number 2 series was, oddly enough, it was Major X. And I know that's kind of coming off the board a little bit, but that's because it was just simple Liefeld, crazy creative energy for basically the whole series. And, you know, getting Rob Liefeld, Willis Portacio, and then introducing us to Brett Peoples, who, yeah, I mean, another great artist. It was great. And then the fact that it actually connected back to the 2-issue arc that Rob had done on Wolverine back in the late 90s was great. And it made me happy that I still had those issues in my collection.
You know, the low-key, like, underrated cool thing about Major X is there has not been any good Deadpool lately. And you get 2 Deadpools in Major X, and they're both from Rob Liefeld, and he knows the character.
Yeah, you got Deadpool and Dreadpool, and then you also had, you know, all the other new, you know, the Essential, the Extant, you know, all of these crazy new concepts. And I feel like he just opened a giant bag of toys and said, everybody have fun. And nobody's played with any of them yet, but I'm betting somebody will eventually.
Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't sound like it's going to be Rob, but I'm sure someone is going to pick up that ball and run with it.
Somebody's going to pick up those toys and start playing with them.
All right. So my number 2 series is Killmonger from Bryan Hill and Juan Ferreira. Just... I watched Black Panther, and I don't think it's quite as good as everyone else thinks, but I think Killmonger is absolutely the standout character and feature in that movie. And I didn't, you know, I came in, I was like, I like Bryan Hill, but I'm not really sure about a Killmonger origin story. Blew me away. All my expectations were shattered. I couldn't believe it. Issue 2, which actually came out the previous year, where it felt like it was straight out of a Michael Mann, like Heat-like movie. And then it wraps up with a perfect issue in issue 5 where he's a fully formed, fully fledged supervillain. Love Killmonger.
I specifically did not put it on my list because I knew you were going to, and I didn't want to take your thunder on that one. I absolutely love that book. It made me, you know, like I knew Killmonger sort of from the comics, and I really liked the Michael B. Jordan Killmonger in the movie. I didn't really like the movie all that much. It was just, you know, Thor redo again after, you know, you did Thor, then Aquaman, and then Black Panther, and they're just all the exact same movie. And while it was fun, I didn't really like it as much as anybody else. Apparently a lot of other people. I enjoyed it, but I loved that Killmonger. And whenever I heard Bryan Hill doing it, I'm like, well, I don't really like Juan Ferreira, but I'll give it a shot because I like Bryan Hill. And he just knocked that book completely out of the park. Every issue was good. Every issue was the whole series it's incredibly well done. And I wish he would be the guy doing the regular Black Panther series. Hell, I wish they could give him just a full, like an ongoing Killmonger series.
I would read it, absolutely. And I thought the visuals in this were great too. I thought he really made it look cool.
Yeah, that church scene was great. A lot of the way that he used a lot of like moonlight in dark rooms to, you know, to kind of almost do low lights in an otherwise black. You know, it kind of had that very Michael Mann meets David Goyer kind of design and lighting and setting. to it. Because I mean, I always joke that David Goyer would like to make a movie in where everybody is wearing all black at night with the lights out in the rain. He just wants to film 90 minutes of black. But you know, Michael Mann does a lot of that, like neon lighting and high lighting and low lighting, and he used a lot of that in that, and I loved it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so cool. And the character just gets screwed over by everybody. Kingpin screws him over. His girlfriend screws him over. Shield screws him over. Like, you know why he's a supervillain by the end, because he ain't trusting nobody.
Yeah, because you know what? He starts off optimistic. He's a little more hopeful. He's a little more reluctant to do bad things because he thinks that the world is kind of genuinely good. And then everybody just keeps screwing him. And every time he gets hesitant to do something that he might think is too far, he gets screwed just because he doesn't do it. And he's just like, you know what? If I do it, I don't get screwed. This is great. It's fine. I'm good. Yeah.
So I have a feeling that our number one, we might have the same comic series as number one.
Yeah. I did the combination House of X, Powers of X.
I'm also House of X, Powers of 10.
All right. Yeah. I mean, come on. What needs said about this that hasn't been already said? It rewrote it fixed a lot of the problems with the X-Men over the past few years. It set them up for the future. It got them, it kept some of the themes that are more classic with the the prejudice and the world that hates and fears them, but it kind of got away from the fighting for them. They're now fighting for themselves. They're fighting to exist. They're fighting to have a peaceful existence. And I hate it and I like it at the same time. It fixes a lot of the continuity. It fixes some of the continuity messes. But it sets them up for so many ideas of stories and directions for the future.
Well, it also reignited the flame of enthusiasm for X-Men fans who have been just screwed over for so many years. No good X-Men. X-Men Yellow, Red, Blue, they all sucked. You had X-Men Extermination, some Bresson series like that Cable and X-Force that were pretty good, but it was so much drivel for years. It was finally an oasis, a salvation for X-Men fans, a good X series trying to right the wrongs of the past, reestablish the characters in a new future, and really it changed. The villain for X-Men for so long has been prejudice. That has been the main antagonist for X-Men, and it's changed that. It's man-made false evolution where they outpace mutants in the end and destroy them.
Yes.
Perfect.
And it kind of like, because extinction has been a theme for them for a little while, ever since pretty much the Legacy virus. That kind of did it for a little bit, and then the Genoshan massacre brought it back up, and then after Scarlet Witch with the decimation, that made it extinction has been a theme for them for a while, but it always seemed a little ham-fisted. Like they couldn't figure out how to do it, but they finally figured out how to do it with that combines prejudice and extinction together into one major problem with an AI an artificial super intelligence that will outpace them and wipe them from existence.
There are so many tremendous, reveals. You find out Moira is a mutant with the power of reincarnation. We know in her past lives she's been learning all these things about why mutants eventually are exterminated and taken out, and it's revealed in the Powers of 10 series, and she's gathering all this information as Charles is making a new home for mutants in Krakoa, and then just reveal after reveal after reveal. It's always it was insane how much information was actually packed in those 12 issues, and I couldn't get enough of it.
I couldn't either, and there's a reason why. You know what? As much as I was reluctant to buy into a weekly, alternate release title, it ended up being the best thing that they could have done. It was. I mean, and the reason I guess I was so leery about it was because of what they did for the first 10 issues of Uncanny X-Men just a few months prior, and how it killed everything. Like it was so tiresome.
Bad. Yeah.
But this one made it worth it.
Absolutely. And
as much as I won't, not going to give them, permission to do this again. They got it right that time. The schedule was right. The story was right. The creative team was right. RB Silva and
Pepe
Larraz,
Marte Gracia on the colors.
Yep. Yeah. I honestly, two amazing series that probably the two best series in comics this year.
Oh, without a doubt. I haven't done my I'm going to do a top 10 list with, DC, Marvel, and indie comic. I don't see anything beating House of X, Powers of 10, but you never know. I haven't put the list together. Maybe something will outshine it.
Maybe.
It's not happening.
I don't think so.
No. House of X, Powers of 10, easily the best series in all of comics. And, I actually had to intentionally leave comics off of our last list because it would have taken up too many slots because, between House of X number 2, House of X number 4, I think Powers of X number 2, or Powers of 10 number 2, Powers of 10 number 6.
Yeah.
So many amazing comics. This in that one series.
Yep. And apparently Amazon's selling the hardcover of it for relatively cheap. I mean, still like $40 shipped, but considering that it's a $60 cover price on the book, that's not too bad.
Well, I will let this out of the bag. Finally get to 5,000 subs, which will be sometime next year. I think that's probably going to be the big giveaway.
All right.
So if you aren't sub to the channel so we can get to 5,000 sooner. You can try and win the hardcover of House of X Powers of 10.
Dope.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of great comic series. If you're watching and you missed out on any of these, you need to go back and catch back up on them because these are the very best, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme of Marvel Comics this year.
Oh yeah. Go
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Man. Take care.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.